Imagine working the same job for 4.6 billion years without a single day off. No weekends. No holidays. No sick leave. That is the life of our sun. Every single second, he burns 600 million tons of hydrogen. He holds the entire solar system together with his gravity. He provides the energy for every leaf, every ocean current, and every living creature on Earth. And what does he get in return? We complain when it's too hot. We complain when he hides behind clouds. We take him for granted. But what if, one day, the sun simply had enough? What if the giant nuclear fusion reactor in the sky decided to clock out? Today, we explore the terrifying, freezing, and surprisingly quiet scenario of the day the sun quit. It started on a Tuesday. There was no explosion, no supernova, just a sudden decision. The sun, tired of the ungrateful planets, simply stopped fusing atoms. The roaring fires of the photosphere went silent. The blinding light turned into a dull, cooling rock. But here is the terrifying thing about physics. Light has a speed limit. It takes light exactly 8 minutes and 20 seconds to travel from the sun to Earth. This means that for 8 minutes, the sun was already dead, but Earth had no idea. Down on the surface, people were walking their dogs. Solar panels were soaking up ghost rays from a star that had already quit. The planets were orbiting a gravity well that was rapidly changing. It was the ultimate cosmic prank. We were basking in the warmth of a ghost. At 8 minutes and 21 seconds, the truth arrived. It didn't happen like a sunset, gradual and beautiful. It was instant. 1 second, it was noon. The next second, it was midnight. Imagine the confusion. The sky didn't just turn dark. The stars appeared instantly, shining with a cold, indifferent brightness. The moon, which reflects the sun's light, vanished immediately. Panic wasn't immediate, confusion was. People checked their watches. Was it an eclipse? A power outage? But you can't have a power outage for the sky. Within the first hour, the realization hit. The heat was gone. Without the constant bombardment of solar photons, Earth's atmosphere began to bleed heat into the vacuum of space. The temperature didn't drop instantly like in the movies, but it was steady, and it was relentless. By the end of the first week, the global temperature had dropped from an average of 15 degrees Celsius to 0. This was the turning point. Photosynthesis stopped immediately. Plants, the foundation of our food chain, went into shock. Without sunlight, they began to consume oxygen instead of producing it. The great forests of the Amazon went silent. And the planets? They were terrified. Without the sun's solar wind pushing back against the interstellar medium, cosmic radiation began to flood the solar system. Jupiter, the king of planets, tried to take charge. In our scenario, we can imagine the gas giants huddling together. Jupiter is massive, made of the same ingredients as the sun, hydrogen and helium. But he failed the audition. He lacks the mass to ignite fusion. He is just a failed star, floating uselessly in the dark. Back on Earth, the oceans began to change. The surface layer froze, forming a global ice sheet. Ironically, this ice insulated the water below, keeping the deep oceans liquid for millions of years. But for us surface dwellers, the clock was ticking. Month 1. The temperature is now minus 40 degrees. Civilization has moved underground. We are burning fossil fuels not for cars, but just to keep our bunkers warm. But the scariest part wasn't the cold. It was the air. As the temperature continued to plummet toward minus 200 degrees, something bizarre happened. The atmosphere itself began to freeze. First, clouds disappeared because all moisture had turned to snow. Then, the carbon dioxide froze, falling as dry ice snow. And finally, the nitrogen and oxygen, the very air we breathe, turned into liquid. It began to rain liquid air. The sky was literally falling. Earth was turning into a snowball floating in a void, a dead rock, just like Pluto. In the darkness, Earth drifted. He realized, perhaps for the first time, just how arrogant he had been. He thought he was the main character. He thought life made him special. But life is fragile. It exists only by the permission of the star it orbits. But the sun, despite his grumpy retirement, was watching. Stars don't have feelings. Of course. But in our story, the sun felt a strange sensation. Boredom. Without the planets, without the chaotic energy of life, the solar system was just quiet. Too quiet. The sun realized that being the center of the universe is a lonely job, but it's a necessary one. A king is nothing without his subjects. And so, he decided to get back to work. Restarting a star isn't like flipping a light switch. It's violent. The sun gathered his gravitational pressure, squeezing hydrogen atoms together until snap. Fusion reignited. A shockwave of light and heat blasted outward at the speed of light. 8 minutes later, Earth saw it. A blinding flash in the sky. The return of the king. The heat hit the frozen atmosphere like a hammer. The liquid air boiled instantly, turning back into gas. Winds roared across the planet at supersonic speeds as the pressure equalized. The ice sheets cracked. It wasn't gentle. It was a violent resurrection. But it was life. Slowly, the blue returned to the sky. The dry ice sublimated. The plants that had survived as seeds began to wake up. The sun was back. Things returned to normal, but something had changed. When you look up at the sky now, maybe you shouldn't just see a bright light. You should see a lifeline, a constant, burning miracle that keeps the universe's cold grip at bay. So, the next time you complain about a sunburn, maybe just say thank you instead. Because the alternative? The alternative is a very, very cold darkness. But knowing the sun, he probably just took a nap. Let's hope he doesn't hit the snooze button again. Thanks for watching. If you want to survive the next solar apocalypse, hit that subscribe button. And let us know in the comments, how long do you think you would survive without the sun?